We have a great show today. Starting out our show is Linda Evans, and you already know who she is. Linda Evans is famous for many of her roles. My very favorite role was her Audra on The Big Valley.
Oh, goodness.
I have three sisters, and we watched you faithfully. We just adored you. She's best known for Crystal on Dynasty, and many of you may not know this, but Linda Evans was also voted woman's most beautiful, one of the 10 most beautiful women for 4 consecutive years by Harper's Bazaar magazine. She won Italy's coveted Teleghetto Award for favorite female TV star, and she's won 4 People's Choice Awards for favorite female performer and a Golden Globe Award for best actress in dramatic TV. So, Linda, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. My goodness, it's like my life story there.
Well, again, like I said, my very favorite role was Audra on Big Valley, and I just loved watching you, and also with Barbara Stanwyck. And I would always think that you were such a sort of angelic, sweet figure, such a great role model for me and my sisters. And I always wondered what it was like to work with Barbara Stanwyck.
Well, she was just magical to work with. What a incredible woman and an amazing actress. I mean, I felt so honored to be working with her when I was so young. She was a living legend.
That's what I thought. I wondered if in the beginning it was really intimidating, or was it hard when you first started with her?
Well, I was intimidated, but she could not have been more beautiful and warm, and just took me under her wing and took such good care of me and taught me so many things. I'll forever be grateful to her for that.
Wow, I love it. Well, I know you're speaking across the nation right now on women and self-esteem. As a matter of fact, you're here to award the first annual Women United a Woman's Health and Well-Being Advocacy Award to a local individual. And what, of all the women you've worked with personally and professionally, what woman do you most admire who's taught you the most?
Well, I would say it was Barbara Stanwyck, because she really taught me to be a professional in an industry that doesn't always foster that. I mean, there are a lot of actors and actresses who just think because they're popular they can do anything that they want. And she taught me quite young to be prepared, to be on time, and it's worked for me so well in my life. And served me. I would never have done The Gambler with Kenny Rogers, who'd worked with quite a few women who were very irresponsible as actresses. And I guess he really had to check me out before I could get the job.
Well, the Women United program, which is sponsored by United Healthcare, Pharmacia Upjohn, and Northside Hospital, is designed to heighten awareness of women's health issues and promote well-being among women in Georgia. And in addition to this awards dinner, Linda Evans is presenting this award. There's a whole health fair, and hopefully next year we'll be able to go to that ahead of time and see in person. And I know that your talk at the Women United meeting is on aging gracefully. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're going to say today?
Well, women are living longer than ever before, between 86 and 92 years of age, and that's after 40, that's 50-some years. And we can have a second life. We really, it's a magical time if we're healthy, and that's one of the reasons that the symposium is so important. They're going to be talking about all the things that happen to women when they get into their 50s and 60s, such as overactive bladder and, breast cancer prevention and heart disease in women and menopause. Even going to talk to them about making safe and informed cosmetic surgery decisions. Women really have to plan in advance their life. They think in terms of husband, they think in terms of children, but then their grandchildren will be grown up, and they still have about 20 more, 30 more years.
Yeah.
And we want them to be healthy. And if they come and hear about these things, they can prevent diseases and situations from happening to them that will make these later years much more productive for them if they can avoid all of these things. And knowledge is the importance here.
Well, I have to admit, I'm 42, and every year since age 40, I notice more and more signs of aging. And
Right.
and my girlfriends and I want to write a book called "Aging Sucks," basically. And you talk about aging gracefully. How do you let go of some of those totally ego desires?
Well, those ego desires are fed by society, which is fixated on 20-year-old people.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. And the other part of it is if a woman loves herself, truly gets to know who she is and loves herself, she will not be so pressured outside, because inside she'll be happy.
And I know you wrote a book, Linda Evans, Beauty and Exercise. Did you talk some about that, about self-esteem and making that more important?
Yes, I did. But the book's not available now. It's out of print, so it's not like I want people to run down and try to buy that book. These kind of health symposiums I wish existed when I was young and I could go to them. You know, it's so important for women to know. I think we're going to be doing it from 7 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. And if women can just take the time away from their family to come and love themselves enough to learn about themselves, so they can go back and actually be better with their family afterwards. You know, they don't understand this, but if they can just get this knowledge and information, and they can hear these experts talking about these things and be prepared in their life, this will be a grand time for all of us.
You're doing this a lot around the country a lot, right? And doing a lot of promotion for women in health. Linda, what is your greatest career achievement, do you think?
Oh, goodness. You know, I never wanted to have a career.
You didn't?
No, I was discovered and when I was 15, and just things just kept happening. And then when my marriages didn't work, you know, one of the things I'm going to be talking about tomorrow is I'm going to be brutally honest about my life and about my insecurities and my fears. And I want women to understand we're all the same. And I want them to understand, too, that nobody has it made that's a woman. And so when you say my career, I always just wanted to get married and have kids. That was my dream. So the career, I mean, I was lucky because my marriages didn't work, so I got to get a job that paid enough money that I never have to work, and I'm independent now. But it was not the focus of my life.
Well, you know, my show is called Choosing Life, Addictions, Mental Health, and Recovery, and one of the reasons why I do this show is 17 years ago I discovered I was an alcoholic. So when you say that tomorrow you're going to talk and be brutally honest, one of the things that I think is so important and so helpful to people is when they hear someone talking about their own insecurities. And I know the women that have helped me that I admire were the ones who said, you know, Suzi, this is what's happened, and this is how I dealt with it and how things can change. And the two questions I wanted to ask you were about your career and your personal achievement. And when I hear you say that you're really going to talk about your life, what do you think your greatest personal achievement is now as you look back on your life?
I think that every time there was a major tragedy in my life, I knew that it was an opportunity. Instead of being a victim of it, I took it and made it into something else. And that was very valuable. I didn't know I was doing it at the time, but I look back in my life and see that that's how I actually got through so many things that were so painful and so difficult and unknown to me.
You know, I think that every time, about 90% of women go into treatment for alcoholism after a tragedy or a loss, like a divorce or, you know, a death in the family. So, you know, it is, as Wayne Dyer says, it is an opportunity for spiritual experience, or, you know, you can become bitter. You said you're going to talk some about your fears and insecurities. It's hard to see, based on our society, someone as beautiful as you to have insecurities. What would you say some of those are, about relationships, about...
Well, firstly, I want to say that I don't know a single woman on this planet that isn't insecure.
Right.
It doesn't matter who we are.
Right.
We're women. We're women. And women are not secure. I don't care how beautiful they are. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how much they're loved. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And that's what's, I think, so important for us to know. You know, talk about you being an alcoholic. I had parents that were alcoholics. So it was the last place I wanted to go to relieve myself, because I knew the harm that it did for people around you.
Exactly.
And so I was lucky in a way. You know, we could see this as a terrible tragedy that I had alcoholic parents, or you can say, well, I was lucky because I learned that wasn't the answer. And the key is to not run away from things, but to face things, and I go into detail about that.
And the Adult Children of Alcoholics movement that started about 15 years ago has been phenomenal to especially a lot of women raised in alcoholic homes who have been able to talk about their own recovery process.
I understand. And that's beautiful.
It is. It's
you have
so
a wonderful community here, and what's great is the women should take advantage of it and really come and really learn about themselves and their potentials for the future, and so they can, be on the upside of this instead of the downside.
Like so, and I'll let you go after this last question, but so many women don't get to the place in their life where they decide, I'm going to be really honest. I want to help other people by sharing my experience and my strength and my hope. Was there anyone instrumental in doing that for you? Was it just the process of going through changes and developmental things?
Well, yes. I have gone to a school for ancient wisdom for 14 years, and I have a beautiful teacher, and he's taught me a lot about truth and being able to be honest, because the only way you can really love yourself is to be honest. Self-deception is rampant in this world,
right.
And was in me too. I didn't even know that I was. And, I think there's a naiveness about us. I don't think that like we're all just figuring we're going to lie to each other. But I certainly lied to myself. I didn't even admit that I had alcoholic parents until about 5 years ago.
Well, I love
because
it.
I wanted my family to be
perfect.
Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so wonderful. I admire that so much. One of the things I was going to ask you about, don't you find spirituality becoming so much more important each year?
I do. Yes, I do. I do.
And how that really enriches your life.
Right. And apparently this woman that we're honoring has really been instrumental in helping women in every level of their life. Stephanie Davies, I think is her name. And apparently she cares about every aspect of a woman and is making it possible for women to get a lot of help. So this city is beautiful, and I certainly hope a lot of women come to the Cobb Galleria tomorrow and experience what they have to offer them.
Thank you so much for coming on the air with us, Linda.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.